Okay, video 2 on our selections. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my folder here and I'm going to open up selection 2A and 2B and open these up in Photoshop. So we're going to select this image from its background and put it into this sort of, obnoxious realtor ad, whatever it is. Okay, let's open that up. All right, so again, this will be review. Let's just use we can actually even use the object selection tool, which is pretty cool. So it's in the same section as the quick selection, but when I hover over an object, it identifies it and allows me to make a selection, right? Pretty cool. I don't like what it's doing with the double hair though, and I want to actually clean that up a bit. So let's try the select subject instead. Kind of doing the same thing, so that's okay. So we're actually going to add to our selection here. What I'm not going to try and select is the wispy hairs, okay? I don't need to worry about that because we'll get that with our select and mask feature. So I'm just going to make sure I add to the selection here. All right, get the shoulder in there. I might even actually remove some of this. Things might get weird. There we go. Add in here. That looks pretty good down there. Again, when you use the AI tools, don't just set it and forget it. Always review, because I have not been in an instance where I haven't had to make some sort of adjustment. All right, let's maybe bring that in a little bit, and we'll get those with a different tool here. This is the tricky part. I'm going to get rid of those and just sort of worry about the defined line in her hair, not so much the wispy hair. We'll use the different tool for that one. Okay, so I've used the select subject, but I also got rid of some of these flyaway hairs from the select subjects option, just because I don't want it to get weird, okay? And I've gone around and just made sure that I have the full body here. Okay, now I'm going to do the select and mask again. And there is my selection. Now it doesn't look great, right? It looks kind of choppy. So we need to do a few things to make this look good. For my view, I can leave it on white is fine. It's kind of going into a bright photo. Oh my God, where did my brain go? So that's okay. So we'll leave it there, but let's increase our radius now to 10 pixels. Okay, let's see. It's, helped a little bit, but what we really want to use in this instance, because there's all these extra flyaway hairs, and it's not just like a clean cut, haircut like our first model, we want to use our refine edge brush tool. And with this, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to basically paint around where all those wispy hairs were and you can see look at how much it's adding to it, right? Look at all that's just been added. Okay, we took away from her jacket, but we can fix that with a layer mask, no problem. Just note that sometimes when you do this, it won't update right away, and it'll give you this terrible looking thing. So if that happens, what I like to do is just toggle on and off the show original. So there's my original selection. Here's with the refine edge brush tool, where I've just added to the selection, and it looks awesome, right? Like there's still a few things we need to correct, sort of the color, and you'll see that when we get there, but we have all these little flyaway hairs. I can even add more if I want. And it's done a fantastic job and saved us a ton of work. Okay. So that's good for now. Let's you know what? I think we're okay with our feather options right now. We'll just sort of leave it, but let's output to a layer mask here and hit OK. All right. Now we're going to drag this image into our selection 2B. Okay. And what you can do is you can click on it and drag to the top and then let go. And let's size her up. So Command T, and then I press Command T. I can't see my transform tools because they are outside of my canvas. But once I press Command T, if I do Command 0, it shows me all the little control handles. I'm going to hold Option and Shift and just to bring this down, right? And this looks like a realtor ad or something. A little bit. I mean, the pose is weird, but you know, maybe it's something like this. Cool. So we have all these flyaway hairs, but they have this like weird color to it, right? It's kind of brown. It's a little bit of the background peeking through, and we've lost a bit of the jacket here. So let's go in with our layer mask and our brush. Let's use a sort of hard brush on this. We're going to paint with white, and we're going to just, white, and we're just going to bring some of that back, okay? Go through and just, again, add to the selection if you need to. Any parts that are missing, we'll deal with that sort of line fringe in the end. You can use the exact same technique from this first video, right? But let's address the hair here. Okay, and there's a couple ways we can do that. My favorite way is just by using a layer style. All right, so what we're going to do is double click sort of on the void to bring up our layer styles. And what we're looking for is inner glow, right? Which is right here. And because I've done this already, look how the difference already, it's just sort of fixes it almost immediately once you add a color in, right? So the color that you're looking for in this, so you know what, actually, let's reset to the default here, okay? So I'm going to double click on my color box here. And what I want to sample is, when I look at her hair, I want to sample sort of the color that is overall the most. Okay, that sounds kind of weird, but you know, we have some lighter bits down here. We have some darker bits. I want to sort of find that middle area, something like that, right? If someone has just like jet black hair, this would be easy, or one solid color, but the blonde has a few highlights throughout it. And so we're going to sample sort of the overall one, okay? Already an improvement, right, when I toggle this on, but let's add some settings here. So I want to turn the opacity to about 75, okay? And look how much better that already looks, okay? That's great. And then I want to make sure I'm on screen. And the size here, you can increase, and you can see how it's adding that glow, right? Play around with that, see what's happening. So this size is up to you. It's whatever you decide as the designer. Okay, toggle on and off. It's a good way to do it, right? So this will depend on what you think works well. So I think 7 probably works good for this. All those little extra bits are back in there. That looks great. We've added glow to her clothing. Now, if you don't like that, we can get rid of it. If you do like it, then hey, you're good. And that looks pretty good. Okay, awesome. Now, if you wanted to remove the glow from her clothes, right? If I toggle this on and off, you can see it's been added. What we can do is on our layer, let's go to, we're going to go to layer, and we're going to go to layer style, and we're going to go to create layer. And what this is going to do is it's going to take the layer style that we create and make it its own layer, right? So now it's a separate sort of entity. We can add a layer mask on this, and then with a black brush, we can paint where we don't want that glow, right? So just get rid, like, because obviously you don't want it sort of on the edge down here. It looks really weird. I don't mind it on the clothes, to be honest, because there's a really big bright window in the background of this image, right? And with that bright window, it's going to cast some light in here, possibly acting as a hair light, right? But if you want to remove it, it's, you know, not an issue. Again, if you're zooming in too much, you sort of lose the context. So try to stay grounded a little bit. This looks great. The last thing we sort of need to do is address that fringe that we have here. So you can do that by going into the layer mask. We can use the brush tool. We can set it to overlay. and we can paint around. Okay, that's one way to do it. The other way, whether it's quicker or not, but I want to show you it anyways, we are going to, again, make a selection, grab our person here. You know what? Sorry. What we should actually do is turn our background off and do a dupe merge. Turn the background on. There we go. Take a look at that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Ooh. Okay, we still have that in here, and we can go, layer, matting, remove black matte. And that takes care of it. And there's a bit of a white one too, so we can do that as well. We can go layer, matting, remove white matte. And there we go. Pretty powerful tool, pretty easy to get all those little wispy flyaway hairs. It looks natural. We have some of this light coming in from the back, so it definitely, that bright color that we picked works. And yeah, so what did we do? We created a selection. We used the refine, not the refine edge. That's what it used to be called, the select and mask. We've adjusted the radius. We use the refine edge brush to add in the flyaway hairs, and we output to a layer mask. Once we did that, we dragged this image back into our document. We've cleaned up our selection just in case, if we were missing parts with our layer mask. And then we added the inner glow, targeting sort of the overall hair. At the end, we turned the background off to do a dupe merge, and then did a image, matting, remove black matte, remove white matte. And here's our final. Looks pretty great. So these are going to be some of the tricks that you use for your movie poster and your creative portrait to make, to increase the realism, because that's our goal. Okay, so for our next video, it's going to be the required submission video, where we're going to, same sort of process. We have a model. We're going to select them from the background and add them to a new environment. And we're going to use some more techniques, some more new learning, to enhance the realism overall. Okay. Thanks for watching.